making this video for others like me, just to tell you what I went through and how it was, so that you don't worry. A disclaimer, the UK is not testing for coronavirus unless you're already in hospital, and so I cannot guarantee that what I had is coronavirus. But I've never been so ill in my life before, so this is my story. It started on Sunday the 15th of March. I woke up feeling fine. I did 2 hours of yoga, just going around my day, and around 2 p.m. I started to feel a bit strange. I have a thermometer at home, so I measured my temperature, and it wasn't particularly high. It was just about 37.5. I didn't really think much about it and just get on with my day. Didn't take any meds. Towards evening, I started feeling a lot worse. I checked my temperature again. I was 39. I immediately went through all of my first aid kits, all of my suitcases. Anywhere I might have stored meds, I pulled out all of my ibuprofen, all of the paracetamol, all Lemsips, both powders and tablets, put on my dressing table. I took 2, and 2 hours later there was no effect. My temperature was still 39. And from my childhood, whenever I would have temperature, my parents would make a hot bath for my feet. I don't know how it works, but it drains the temperature out of you. So I did that. It worked. I sweated out the temperature, but 2 hours later I was back to 39 again. I was in bed by this time. I just kept taking 2 paracetamol at a time. I started with Lemsip first. I was taking 2 Lemsip every 4 hours. I was sweated out, and it was a lot of water. I would just roll over to the other side of the bed where it was still dry, lie there for another 4 hours, take more Lemsip, sweat out again. And that's how the night went through. Day 2. I woke up and the bed was completely soaked. The temperature was 39.1. It was still going up. I was actually feeling well enough that day to get dressed. I did that. I uncovered the bed so it could dry a little bit. And I have a deck chair in my bedroom, so I lay in that all day instead. And I would take 2 more Lemsip. It was the same story as in the first day. It wasn't really doing much straight away. It would be a few hours, and then I would do another bath for my feet, and then I would start to sweat and the temperature would start to go down. And went like that all day as well. I was actually making some food at the time. I will go down to the kitchen and my head felt very heavy, but I actually defrosted some salmon and marinated that. Made some couscous with vegetables. Then evening came, I got back into bed, had my food. I was feeling a little bit better, but the temperature was still 39. It would still climb back up every time. I remember taking 2 more Lemsip before bedtime, fell asleep and woke up on the bed on the 3rd day, was even more soaked. Day 3. I woke up with temperature 36 and 6. The bed was wet, completely wet. I thought that the fever broke and that was it. I didn't think it was Covid-19 at all. I thought it was just high temperature and that was going to be it. I was feeling very weak. Thankfully, I have storage in my bed. So I pulled out one of the drawers and got out my hairdryer and literally I plugged it in and I dried the bed. I would dry it on one side, then I rolled over and dried on the other side. It was completely soaked. It maybe took me 40 minutes to dry the whole thing. I had a little bit to eat, checked my temperature again. This was maybe 2 hours after I woke up. And I started rising again. It was 38 again. It didn't go to 39, but it was 38. Carried on taking Lemsip, carried on sweating. Temperature would go down again. I was starting to feel very weak. But the day went by like that. And temperature would continue to rise to 38. But it felt like I was at least able to knock it down. On day 1 and day 2, it was ridiculously difficult to get the temperature down. But now I would take the tablets and I would start working almost immediately, and the temperature would fall again. Day 3 went by like that. Day 4 and 5 went like this again. There was almost no change. It was just temperature would keep rising to 38. I would take tablets, knock it down. It would start rising again. Day 6 was Friday the 20th of March. Temperature went down that day. It was no longer 38. It was 37.5, 37.5. And tablets stopped helping. I would take 1 or 2 and they would do nothing. I still had terrible headaches because of the temperature, and paracetamol would help take away the headache, but the temperature itself would not drop. It would stay static at 37.5. And I was feeling very weak by this point. I was no longer going down to the kitchen to cook. Just making something simple, even boiled eggs, I would have to bring it back upstairs to my room because I was isolated from the other housemates, and I would need to take a nap before I was able to eat them. I was getting so tired. And so, yeah, the temperature was doing nothing. It was just staying 37.5. And that was on Friday, as I said. I was exactly the same over the weekend. So for 3 days, the temperature just stayed exactly the same at 37.5. By Sunday, I couldn't face the idea of cooking anything else at all. I would only go to the kitchen to maybe wash an apple. I was still eating as much as I could, but not very much was happening. And yeah, that was day 8 by Sunday. And like I mentioned at the outset, I wasn't getting worse, but I wasn't getting better. And there wasn't anything online to tell me what to expect or why that was happening and if it was going to get better or not. All I could find was that in the classical Covid-19 so far, people would have symptoms the first 7 days, and then on day 9, if they were unlucky, they would develop pneumonia. But I developed a little bit of a cough because I had a lot of mucus in my throat, but I kept breathing fine. There was absolutely nothing wrong with my lungs. I kept breathing really deep and easily, and it was fine. But the cough was starting to get worse. But it wasn't moving down into my lungs. So it was scary, but at least it was manageable. Day 9. That was yesterday, Monday the 23rd of March. I actually fell asleep on Sunday with low temperature already. I measured temperature just before going to sleep, and it was 36.9. Yesterday on Monday, I woke up at temperature 36.6. And I was feeling fine for the first time in all this time. And then out of the blue, the headache started. And it wasn't just a typical headache. I was feeling very nauseous and heavy, and like somebody was pushing my head down. And that's when I tried to call 111 for the first time, the NHS helpline. I already tried to fill in their form the night before online, and I just had to call them. So yesterday morning I didn't want to take any more paracetamol because my temperature was fine, but my head was killing me, so I called 111. And I was on the line for 1 hour and 12 minutes before giving up. I put the phone down, never got through. Took a paracetamol, just the one tablet, and it helped. It took away the headache. I was feeling okay again by 2 p.m. Before that, I just couldn't move. I fell asleep for an hour, woke up, had something to drink, fell asleep again, woke up at 2, felt okay. And yesterday evening, I was feeling better than ever. I was even able to sit up in my bed without having to support my head for a little bit. I had a takeaway. I ate fine. It was also the first time in 9 days that I did not have diarrhea. So my stomach was getting better as well. And I took temperature just before going to sleep. I was 36.6. Today, day 10. I woke up around 10 a.m. And the temperature was fine again. It was 36.6. But the same thing happened as yesterday. When I first woke up, I was feeling good, and then the headache started. Only today it wasn't just the headache, it was also migraine. That was the first migraine I've had in my life, and I never want to do that again. I tried taking Lemsip because I ran out of paracetamol and of Lemsip tablets. All I had was Lemsip sachets, the ones that dissolve in water. So I dissolved one of those in warm water, drank it down. It made no difference. Around 12, my mom wrote to my landlord. I lodge with my landlord. He went to the pharmacy and got me some meds for migraines. I took a tablet almost straight away at 12:30. That was. I was out until 4 p.m. And it was another 2 hours before I felt strong enough to get up and get something to eat. So I had my breakfast at 6 p.m. I am feeling very weak right now, but my head no longer hurts, thank goodness. And this is the 10th day. I hope tomorrow I'll finally be feeling okay and no more migraines. I wish the same to you. I'll update you on how I'm feeling again tomorrow. And hopefully we'll complete this journey together. Day 11. This is the 25th of March, Wednesday. Today I woke up a few times. When I first woke up at 8, my temperature was 36.8. I was still very tired, so I just went back to sleep. I woke up again at 10:30 and my temperature was 37. Stayed in bed for about an hour trying to get the courage to get up and make some breakfast. I've just had my breakfast now and the headaches didn't come today, and I wish I could say I feel okay, but I feel very, very weak. And for context, to explain what I mean when I feel weak, I finally got up. I went downstairs to the kitchen and made porridge. I made it in the microwave, so I didn't actually have to stand at the hob. Put it in the microwave for a minute, brought it upstairs, and I had to rest before I could eat it. I've had 5 spoons and I feel too tired to continue eating. I feel like I need to go to sleep again. But my temperature has gone down by itself now to 36.6. This is day 12. As you can see, I'm outside. This is the second day when I woke up with temperature that was fine, no headaches, almost all the symptoms are gone. So yeah, it's finally on the mend. I'm just still feeling very, very weak, but I'm not sleeping today as much as I did yesterday. I'm just very lightheaded, can't really take my head off the pillow. But I'm outside, feeling better. So yeah, it's been 12 days. As I said, this is second day I'm feeling better. So all in all, I was unwell for 10 days. Whew. They say it's going to be an easy illness for those who are young, but it really wasn't. I've never been this ill in my life. I'm very happy to be recovering. But I was also very, very lucky not to have been alone this whole time. I was on Skype with my mom most mornings and evenings as well. She is a medic, working in the private sector. She's self-employed, but she was able to explain to me what my symptoms were, that they were normal, that it was okay to expect those particular symptoms and what to expect next, and that really helped. For my mental health as well, just having somebody to support me that way. So my advice is, even if you can't get through to 111, if you don't have people who have medical skills, call your friends, call anybody you can get hold of, just to have somebody to talk to, somebody to share your symptoms with. Well, this is the end of my journey. I think I'll be okay now, and I hope so are you. Stay healthy. Day 13. I am feeling a lot better today. I have been able to eat at a table for the first time in all this time. That's ridiculously exciting. I've been able to sit up for a few hours at a time. I've still been taking naps. I'm still quite tired, but yeah, I don't have to support my head all the time anymore. Really good news. I think, yeah, I'm getting a lot stronger and really quickly. I think that's because I've been eating so much. I feel like I've been eating all day today and yesterday. And yesterday especially, because I just couldn't get through my meals. I would eat half of it, then take a nap, eat the rest, and then very shortly afterwards it would be time for the next meal. So I actually felt like I was eating all day. But yeah, food is doing incredible thing, bringing me back. All the other symptoms are gone as well, well, apart from tiredness. Yeah, temperature is fine. It is oscillating a little bit between 36.6 and 37.1. A lot of the time it is 36.9, which is fine. I'm feeling okay. And one thing that is also gone is a strange feeling I had around my ribs. So for the last 12 days, I would wake up in the morning with a pain in my ribs all the way around the chest area. That's now gone. And also I was able to take deep breaths this whole time, but I couldn't do it quickly. It's like something was holding my the muscles in place. I couldn't breathe in quick. I had to do it very slowly. Otherwise, it just felt strange. I would start coughing. That feeling is now gone as well. I'm very excited to be getting better. Day 14. I'm feeling even better today than yesterday. To be honest, it still feels quite strange to be standing up, to be walking around. I still get quite lightheaded, but I can last almost most of the day, yeah, without needing to lie down. But I still need to take naps. Today I had 2. The temperature is fine, all the symptoms are gone. But I did have some questions from friends and family that have been coming through since I started this blog. And I would like to answer some of this now because I think you might find them useful as well. So one of the most popular questions was, what meds was I taking? I think with most viruses, you only need to take meds to treat symptoms. So as I was mentioning throughout the blog, I was taking paracetamol and Lemsip to treat my high temperature. Apart from the temperature, I did not have a sore throat, so I did not take any meds for that. I did not have a blocked or runny nose at any point, so I did not take any meds for the nose. I did mention earlier in the blog that I started to develop a cough around day 5, and it got a little bit worse as time went on, but it stayed in my throat because of the mucus at the back of my throat. It did not travel to my lungs, so it was not serious enough to take any meds for that either. Quite early on, I think it was around day 3 or 4, my oral hygiene started to suffer quite a bit because I was very weak, so I was eating and falling asleep either during the meal or immediately after the meal, or both. And because of that, my gums started to hurt. For that, I used an infusion of chamomile tea because it is a natural anti-inflammatory, natural antiseptic, and I did not have any mouthwash. So what I did for that was I used 2 tea bags of chamomile tea, and I infused that in a 75 centiliter thermos, and I rinsed my mouth with that every hour for 1 day, and my gums were fine after that. Now the question I've been getting is if I had anybody helping me. The answer is no. Not in the first 10 days when I had the symptoms. I was in complete self-isolation. The reason for that was, well, obviously it is a virus, so you're supposed to self-isolate. But also my housemates have underlying conditions, and I was very worried that I might pass the virus to them. So I stayed in my room the whole of the first 10 days, or coming out only to cook meals or to go to the bathroom when nobody else was in those shared spaces. In those 10 days, I saw my housemates only on 3 occasions. And we were very careful to keep 2-meter distance and not to use the same room at the same time. And this is day 14 today, as I mentioned, and none of them got the virus. None of them developed any symptoms, which is absolutely amazing. I'm very happy about that. But the downside of that was that I didn't have any strength to make food for myself. I wasn't eating much anyway. I mentioned that towards the end of day 8, I got a takeaway, and 3 days later, I still haven't eaten even half of it, even though I've been eating little portions for 3 days. I didn't even order that much. It was 2 soups because they're relatively easy to eat. I got some spring rolls, which I never finished, and lemon chicken with noodles. And in 3 days, I couldn't get through half of that. But after the symptoms stopped, I did need to eat. I was hungry all the time. And the more I ate, the more I wanted to eat, and the more I was able to eat at each sitting. And because my symptoms alleviated, my housemates were happy to start cooking for me. And that was an incredible amount of help. I would not have the energy to make the varied complex meals that I needed at that time, and I could not afford any more takeaways. So it was incredibly helpful for them to make food for me, and I would not have recovered as quickly if I didn't have that help. The next and last question I'm going to do now is about Netflix. People have been asking me what I've been watching and how much I watched, and I hate to disappoint you, but I spent most of my time asleep. And when I wasn't sleeping, I was just feeling really, really tired. And it's the kind of tiredness where I was just lying there, just staring into space, just too tired to do anything, and just the hours went by. So I didn't watch many Netflix. But yeah, I'm here, I'm feeling much better, still a bit of weakness. People keep telling me to eat some fatty foods to help with that. Obviously didn't take any meds for that, just to mention. In terms of symptoms, I don't think there are any meds you can take for weakness. You just need sleep and good food. Yeah, it's the end of the self-isolation. I'm going to work on Monday. Hope you're all staying well and staying healthy. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments under this video and I will try to answer them the best I can. Signing off. Stay healthy, everyone. Bye.